be drinking and the dirty money stinking. Berry got me spitting, yeah. Doing 240 on Lucky Ekpe. With the top down, my shit, bio. Hey, da, no do, gra, no do. You know they call me
Fela in Malawi. First of all, thank you for coming back. We appreciate you. You may be wondering why I'm in an apron today. Well, that's for one very specific reason, because I've got a very special guest today. And that is Chikondi, aka BerryCooks.
In the house. Hey guys.
So before we get into what Chikondi does and what BerryCooks is, first of all, it wasn't a once-off. I told you, LeBron ain't the only one that can have matching outfits. We're gonna do this for a little minute. Here we go. So now that you know that was not a fluke, I need to say one thing. Chikondi, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So everyone needs to know, because this is going to be a very different type of episode. It's actually like pioneering, breaking boundaries once again, and we're not wearing mauve, you know. So please explain to us exactly. So who are you? What do you do? Let's start there.
Who am I? I am Chikondi Guda, Chikondi Anastasia Guda if you want my whole government name. I'm a student currently at NMMU. I'm studying a BCom in Business Management and Economics. Since the Rona started, I decided to come back home, or my family wanted me home. So I came home, and you know how it is, like having to ask my parents for money for everything really just got tiring. And I love to cook, and I had this friend of mine who gave me the idea of like selling my food. Well, he just wanted to buy my food, so like I was selling him my food, and then I was like, oh, why don't I make this a thing? So now I own a cookery. It's not a restaurant, I sell food. So yeah, all the links will be down below, I'm sure.
In the description,
as always. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing, and that's what I'm busy with right now. Okay,
so you decided to make lemonade from lemons, basically. You said, so you're still studying. Do you mind asking, how far away are you from completing your degree?
I have 1 year left.
1 year left,
yes.
Okay. So you have 1 year left. You come back to Malawi because you're saying, obviously, like a lot of people did. Mm-hmm. They said, had to be in Malawi. It's a fly, it's terrible for you. But anyway, have to be in Malawi because obviously safer, being close to family, quarantine, definitely. All these things. And a specific guy was buying it. He said he wants to buy it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a dodgy story. I'm not gonna get into it. That's not for me to discuss. That, hey girl, I just want to buy your food every day. It wasn't me. So you don't have to worry about that. But you decided to start a whole we'll say eatery, cookery for today.
Yeah.
And I saw it from social media. Mm-hmm. So you basically do orders for lunch and dinner.
Yes.
Do you think that you're going to continue doing this after the Rona? Is it just a passion project or?
At first, I really didn't have any direction for it. As I said, cooking is a passion of mine. So it was just like, just cook and do something to keep me busy for now. So I really wasn't planning to continue it, but with the customer base that I have, I feel like I'll be disappointing them if I don't continue. So I'm looking into how I can continue it when I return back to school. And I definitely want to continue while I'm at school as well, but probably not for every day, maybe just like a weekend thing.
Yeah, because I'm actually, if I'm being honest, I've heard a lot of people say, actually, I did try to order your food the one time. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, my order didn't come through.
Yeah, sadly.
It's all right. I think because I ordered a day before on Instagram as opposed to WhatsApp and live. However, a lot of the feedback, let me say all of the feedback I've gotten from your food is people say that your food is really good, and it seems in a very short period of time you've managed to garner like a good level of patronage. Like people say, we order from you. I see it, people posting, ordered BerryCooks and all that. So that's amazing. I mean, I'm very passionate about food. Mm-hmm. For those that know, the reason why we always have, Kalibu Cafe, is because my mom is in food. She provides food, and I've joined the family business through her. So I'm very passionate about food, and I really like it when I see people making good food, and I've seen your post. It seems good. I'm sure I'll figure out how good it is at some point when I get my order, but that's for later on in the episode. So that being said, when did you start cooking? Because outside of the person who said, I just want to buy your food, clearly there must be a time when you're saying, I cook a lot. Or so how did you get into cooking to the point where you're making cordon bleus, you're making ribs? Like, your menu is not basic, it's quite expansive. How did you get into those type of dishes?
If I was to tell you my story, it would actually be really sad. But anyways, I guess I've always just cooked. My first experience of proper cooking was in high school when I did home economics, or food and nutrition, as they call it at Saints.
Tell them.
And our high school. Fela in Malawi is moving places first.
Wow, guys. But yeah, so that's when I would cook. That's when I got to experience different recipes. But with that, there were a lot of written, like, follow this process. You get what I mean? And then when I graduated high school and went to university, where you're living alone, you have to buy your own groceries and stuff like that. I was a huge foodie. I really just went out a lot and had a lot of food, experienced different foods, different places, and different cultures. So, like, I really love food, y'all. So from that, I just got into my kitchen and looked at food and, like, okay, this is how this picture looks like. I think this is how it was made. I'll just try to recreate that picture. So I guess that's how I got into cooking the different stuff that I make and experimenting with different flavors. So yeah, that's pretty much how it came about. And I would shoot a few tutorials on my WhatsApp. Then that's when I had a few friends ask me, oh, why don't you like have a YouTube or like Instagram page and things like that. And for a while I was actually really nervous about it. I was like, I don't know. I was really comfortable with WhatsApp because it's a controlled audience, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it's Instagram or like all those other platforms, it's like out there and it's like, I don't know. So yeah, when I eventually did get into it, like, it was fun. It's pretty fun, and here we are today.
So there's a number of things you've said there which I think are quite interesting. The first, I have to bring this all together. This is going to be episode 8 of the podcast, and you know, I had Twape on last time, and Twape has a lot of ideas. He's a very big personality. His podcast with Hayes and Gola, by the time this drops, would have been out for about 2 weeks. And you've touched on a few things. Because what you said was that obviously you learned from home economics, and you took it on to say, this is something I can do. And then you started like, it's almost savant levels way you've explained, to say like, you'd see something and say, I think they made it that way.
Yeah.
As a bachelor, I'm not even going to say I can attempt that. If I see a pizza, I'm like, there's dough and cheese and maybe some mince. I don't know how they made it. So that's pretty profound. But besides that, you said that your friends encouraged you to do it, which I think is a very important thing for us to take a second on.
Huge.
Secondly was the fact that you said that initially you were happy with it being on WhatsApp because it was a controlled environment, but you were scared for it to be on Instagram and other places because that's very open. That touches on something Twape and I were talking about. We're talking about imposter syndrome, about the fact that, you know, there are times where we don't feel as good as we are.
Yes.
You know,
I watched that podcast, and if you haven't yet, you better watch it.
Yeah, after this one, just go straight to that one.
Just go straight to it.
So we discussed that, and I think what is profound to me from what you said is the fact that you were able to get past that, because a lot of people stop there. WhatsApp is easy because, you know, it's your contacts. So if I post a WhatsApp status, it has to be someone who's got my number and I've got their number. That's how I've said it.
Exactly.
So if I don't like you and I don't want you to see my stuff, you don't have to have my number. I can control it. When you put on Instagram and put on YouTube, it's literally anyone
whoever
comes across it. And we talked about how the vulnerability of creativity, because when you create something, you are very vulnerable. So I'm very happy to hear that you said, even though that's where you started, now you've got a whole thing where it's like, as you said, you've reached a stage where you feel like you might let down your clients because there are that many clients that are ordering your food and engaging with you. So I think that's something which everyone watching, I know I don't want this podcast to be preachy. However, I do like to take away from people's experiences, because if you've reached a stage where you say you've doubted yourself, right? But you do it anyway, and people actually resonate with it. If more people did that, I feel like we would have so much more in this world, because we are all capable of doing stuff. For example, we had a conversation off camera talking about, why did you start this podcast? Why are you on YouTube? And like, I didn't start thinking I was gonna have a YouTube thing. It's turned out that way, and it's just because I got over that voice in my head saying, Ruben, no one's gonna listen to you.
And I just feel like the hardest part is to start.
Yeah.
Is to get out there. Once you do, I feel like for me, from my experience, once I got out there, there have just been so many doors and opportunities that have come my way. So many. You'll be so surprised. So it's like, just step out of your comfort zone and go for it. Especially if you have a passion for it. There's literally so much that your passion can do for you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's crazy. And one thing from like your story, which for me is like so wild, is the fact that you're someone who has been cooking, you like cooking, you post on WhatsApp. It took a pandemic, right? For you to be like, I will now do this, because it's not like you don't have anything going on. You said business management, right?
Yeah.
You're managing your own business now. You're getting on-the-job training for what you're studying, which you have not even finished, because you made the most of a bad situation. And I think that for me is the biggest thing, because this podcast obviously started during the Corona times, and the Corona times, in my view, are not going to end anytime soon. We're going to have to learn to live with it. But it's the beauty of saying, I'm in a situation which I did not cater for, I didn't legislate for, but I'll make the most of it, and you're thriving in it, and that's great. I say that because that's your business, that's what you're doing, and we've got a surprise for you guys. We're going to get to that very shortly. However, you are not just a cook, you're not just a chef. I'll put it chef, and I don't know if I'm stepping on toes for people who went to the school for chefing, whatever, MIT, I don't know. But that being said, it's the issue of when we spoke about you coming on the podcast. Initially, she just wanted to send food, and I said, why send food? Let's do it on the podcast. So now you're not just a chef. You have some very interesting passions. So cooking is just one of your passions. Yes. I want to talk about some other of your passions. So you say that you're passionate about traveling, but traveling specifically in Malawi. So tell me, where have you been in Malawi? We'll start there. Where have you been in Malawi?
I've been to, obviously, Chikwawa, because like my family's from Chikwawa. There's some pretty interesting spots and places there. We first went to Majete. I'm sure everyone knows where Majete is right now.
If they don't, now they know.
Now they know. It's in Chikwawa. So like, even before Majete was a thing, like my dad would usually take us down there after we see my granddad. Sometimes we'd go there, like just go into different places where he would go play, and like, I really love views. Views are everything to me. So I would see all these green sceneries and like just beautiful dams and like little rivers and things like that. And when I see nature and all the beauty that it has to give me, that's something that really just makes me so happy. So started with Chikwawa. I've been to Mzuzu, Karonga, I've been to Neno, I've been to...
How did you manage on that road? That's a bad road.
Terrible. I remember when we were going up one of the hills, the car stopped and then it started going back. Do you know how scary that was? But anyways, I guess that's all the fun that comes with the ride, and trying to experience new things and experience new places. Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump in. So I'm from the north, north. you know, and all the way in Mzimba, pretty much edge of Malawi. So because of that, for my whole life, we've driven a straight line because we've always lived in Blantyre. We've always driven a straight line from Blantyre all the way past Mzuzu. Because most people say Mzimba and they're like, Mzuzu, done. No, not for
I feel like
we've got an hour and a half.
I can't go all the way. Like when we travel to Mzuzu as a family, we usually we'd like to take the lake shore. So like when we're on the lake shore, you have these little stops. So the trip is a little fun. Because I mean, doing the whole 6, 7, 12 hours on the road, we can really fight.
Yeah, but when you're from there, you have no choice.
You have no choice. But like imagine going.
Because I remember when like literally when we were kids, I could tell how well my family was doing financially based on whether we slept in Mzuzu or not. Because if it was a tough month for my dad and we had to go to the village, he was like, we are going straight one time. There's no break. But I'm like, he's balling. Then he's like, oh no, let's just chill in Mzuzu. We'll go to a hotel, you guys, before you get to the village. But we did the whole. That's how I knew. Like if we were driving to the village and he was like, we're going one time, I'm like, he's that food.
It's tough.
And then Woody, that PS game is not. It's not lying. Yeah. So what resonated with me when you said that you have a passion for traveling in Malawi is the fact that it goes back to why we're having this podcast, we're having these discussions, because for those that don't know, this is not just the Fela and Malawi podcast episode 8, it's also Cook With Me, BerryCooks, because she has an IG channel, link in the video description below. I love saying that. I'm like a YouTuber now. Anyway, that being said, it's because I like the fact that we need to appreciate the beauty of the country that we're in. So because I've spent my life like driving up and down Malawi in terms of like we live in Blantyre, which is south. There are parts further south, but it is pretty much south. When you drive the whole length of Malawi, usually because we reach Rumpi sometimes to meet uncles and all that, you kind of tend to see how beautiful this place is, and I feel like we don't have the appreciation of what our country is. For example, I say this a lot, every podcast pretty much. I studied in Cape Town, and when I saw how people reveled over Table Mountain, and I was like, because you leave Malawi and you're excited, oh my gosh, I'm abroad, it's lit. Like, oh, you need to go to Table Mountain. So I went to Table Mountain and I said, yeah, but Table Mountain, to be honest with you, and I know the people in SA watching this, I know for a fact because of the algorithms, Table Mountain is nothing special compared to Zomba, if I'm being 100%. It's just that it has a cable car. We don't. So yeah. That's my whole thing. To say like we have so much scenery. We have Zomba. We have Mulanje. We have Lake Malawi. And when you say Lake Malawi, a third of our country is water, fresh water. And I don't know if that's still the stat, but for the longest time, I know we had the highest biodiversity in terms of fish in Lake Malawi. And if you actually take the time and say, I just want to explore what Malawi has to offer, you'd be surprised that people will save up. There are people abroad who will save up and say, I am going to go to Malawi because of, not Malawi Gold, I want to go to this place and go to that place. So I want to close the travel talk, but like, what are the top 3 places for you that you've traveled to that people need to see?
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Mumbo Island.
I have not.
It's in Cape Maclear. When you go to Cape Maclear, wherever you land, we usually like going to Eagle's Nest.
Yeah.
So when you do go to Cape Maclear, go to Eagle's Nest, get a boat, and ride your way to Mumbo Island.
Is that where they do the snorkeling with the fish and the fish eagle gets the fish? Or is that a different place?
Yeah, you can get that. You can have that. Yeah, you can do that there. But I'm sure that there's different spots in Cape Maclear.
So that's one.
That's one.
I need 2 more for you.
Shit. I don't remember the names.
You don't remember the name?
I don't remember the names.
What about the areas?
The areas.
What are the 2 other areas you go besides Cape Maclear that you visited and you be like, someone else should go there?
And Karonga. Karonga has. Okay, I have to ask my mom for the name of the lodge. You can put the description below. But anyways,
I'm gonna do this because this is where Polycarp is gonna put the name. He's gonna make it run across exactly where my arm is going. Yeah, we're doing this.
Okay, there's this one place that my family went to this one time, and you guys, you had it was like a balcony, but it was just like on a rock, and then you could see the beautiful lake and you could see the mountain on the other side, and you guys, like, my breath, wow, it was so gorgeous. And imagine seeing such a view in the night. So you'd see the stars and like the water twinkling and the sunset and sunrise, and you guys, you definitely need to go see something like that. This is Karonga.
This is Karonga.
Yes.
It sounds like if you are looking to propose to your girl, right? We're gonna link the name of this place when she talks to her mom. We're putting you on game here. That's what we do. We're putting you on game. But I think, end of the day, there are. I need to bring this back for a second. There's someone who I knew who lived in New York, right? And we hear New York, Jay-Z, all that stuff, and we're like, I want to be in New York. That's how I felt for a long time in my life. I want to be there. Just want to visit. I mean, not saying I'm going to go. But there are people that will literally pay for the views that we get for free. Literally. And we need to understand the fact that we are so blessed, so blessed to have this stuff. I mean, I live in Michiru. I hike the mountain here every now and again. I'm like, I literally don't even have to pay the guard. I just give him something just to be like, thank you for taking us up there. And it's awesome. So let's take the time, in my view, my humble opinion, and explore, because we can explore here.
I could really call Mumbo Island a mini Bali.
Mini Bali.
Literally.
That big.
It's so amazing. I mean, like, it's not huge. Like, it's just one lodge on the island. But then it's got like some really cute rooms, some really cute bathrooms and whatever. You guys, it's a must. You have to go.
I'm trying to propose.
You have to go. You really have to go and see this place. It's so gorgeous.
Awesome. And then another thing we talked about, which is quite crazy. Vroom, exactly. Because like I'll play devil's advocate, right?
Okay.
Playing devil's advocate. Feminists, leave me alone. This is devil's advocate. So I look at you. You're like girly girl. You got the hair, whatever. You do. I cook, BerryCooks. And then like so we were talking like, okay, so what are you passionate about? And you're like, oh, cars. I'm like, what?
What you mean?
So I'll admit the misogynist side of me. I'm not misogynist, but that little part of my mind, I was like, what? Cars, really? But you said you're passionate with cars. Cars. How exactly did you get this passion with cars?
My dad is a car fanatic, so he loves cars. Specific cars, though.
Tell us.
He likes European cars.
European.
He likes European
no
cars
Japan.
only.
Tell
That's
us.
what he likes. So now, because he used to talk about cars so much, and you could see his passion when he's talking about, have you seen this one that's just come out? The rims on this, and you would really just look at him and be like, wow. And you would bring like all these magazines with like so many cars, and my brothers and I would look at the magazines and say, I'm gonna have this car, this is my car, that's my car. And you look at the specifications and things like that. So like, yeah man, I'm in this. And then my brothers would bring, I don't know if you guys also had this, but in primary school, we used to have these baker books. So they'll bring magazines, and then you choose what books you want, and then the school would order for you, and they'll bring you the books. So my brothers would always order what were they called? What's that car show?
Top Gear.
Top Gear.
Guys,
Top Gear books.
I always be reading people's minds on this, man.
Literally. Top Gear books, but for kids. So they'll have all these cars and like the descriptions, like the engine stuff. Like, I don't remember the engine specifications, but like things like that would actually make me interested in cars.
Yeah.
And they all looked really nice and stuff like that. And I just really want good cars, y'all. Like, The one car that everyone gets so surprised that I know of is the Zenvo. Specifically, the Zenvo ST1. I've been a fan.
We're gonna need a picture.
It's such a
We're gonna need a
fast-
picture, like,
It's a fast, beautiful.
because I don't
car.
know what a Zenvo is. If I'm being like, the only Zenvo I know is Zemboriaco, and that was someone who was my classmate in secondary. So Zenvo ST1.
Yes, yes, that's the one.
Yeah. Okay.
Zenvo ST1.
So what are your top
really-
3 European cars?
that I really like? Okay, I'm a Beamer girl, let me not lie. I'm also into this specific car that's my wallpaper. Let me show y'all. It is a Bentley. But let
Hold
me-
on.
I have a
It's
Bentley
a
as my
Bentley.
wallpaper.
It's not what? It's not a Chrysler. It looks like a Bentley. It's a Bentley.
It's a Bentley.
All right, cool. Emma is cool with you. Emirates, you sure?
It's a Bentley. Let me show y'all.
Because we just know some people got in trouble for having Chryslers that look like Bentleys. Right?
Really?
It's not a political podcast.
Nah. Oh my goodness, I'm
Six
really trying to
apples.
find I'm really trying to find a
I thought it was
chat.
your wallpaper.
Yes, on my WhatsApp.
Then, you're trying to find a chat
A
that's
chat
not.
that's empty.
You can go to our chat because it's right. PG.
A PG. But you still want like the full thing, you know what I'm saying? Oh, here we go.
Okay, there we go. So please, you need to do it to the camera though.
Like, if I could own that car
Yeah, Bentley.
Yo.
Not a Chrysler.
in pink, hey,
All I'm gonna say is
hey,
like sometimes
how you doing?
I don't really like stunting, but sometimes life is different, and I feel like stunting. And if you catch it, you catch it. And I'm stunting today because we've spoken about. So I've got BerryCooks on. We've spoken about how she started her business, and you're quite young actually, right? You know, Zinziri. Cut that out. Don't cut it out, but cut it. But that being said, you started. You've got a year left in your degree, and you make the most of this COVID situation. Actually, business managing your own business. You like travel within Malawi. We've spoken about that. You like cars. Zenvo, whatever. I have to do like research.
Zenvo ST1,
You know?
and the Audis and the Beamers
And the Beamers, Beamer, Benz, Bentley. All that being said, so like you're a very multifaceted person. I think in and of itself says a lot because it talks to the fact that there are no boxes. We don't. I feel like sometimes we feel like we have to be in boxes. Like, oh no, I'm this person, I'm that person. But I feel like in this day and age, Malawi is in a stage where we can be whatever you want to be. You know. And you guys ask me why are you on YouTube? I'm on YouTube because I feel like I want to do it. But I want to do it because I feel like there are conversations that need to be had. Yeah, so this podcast is not about me. It's about giving a platform, whatever platform this is, to Malawians that are doing interesting things, that are showing everyone that it's not just about complaining and saying how bad things are, because we have been in a bad place. But even in the bad place, similar to how you started your business, people are doing amazing things. Now, that being said, we cannot have this entire podcast, right? We can't be like, okay, so Berry's here, Berry cooks, and we don't cook, right? I don't know if you feel me on that.
That would be an abomination.
An abomination. Waste man thing. So that being said, I feel like
wasting the resources.
So we did a poll on Twitter, and we asked people and don't forget, I am a bachelor, you know. We asked people what we should make from your menu and outside of it. And turns out, majority of people said they want to see us make lasagna. So this is going to be the first Fela and Malawi episode where we actually make a dish on the podcast. I feel like now this is the right time to do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Serious. Tuesday cooks.
Fela in the kitchen.
Doing 240 on Lecky Ekpe. With it top down, no do bruh. You been drinking and it's dirty.
Have you ever made lasagna?
Not really, no.
So let me show you the first thing that you need to do.
Take me there.
Okay, so what's really important about the lasagna is making sure that you get the sheets right. So what I've come to notice is sometimes they don't really come out cooked. So you can either do this method or boil the sheets.
Fela in Versace, yeah. Big shot, superstar, punisher, finisher, goal again, bodyguard. You want more like Bolivar. Big shot, superstar, punisher, finisher. Like two Baba, ready set, don't bruise my heart, delicate. I saw you standing there. Is the flashing lights gonna make me lose my way? Mail, this a baby, yeah. Bentley's in the 18 every year. All my G's in the every year. I'm number one in the million. Yeah, like a fish and chips. From the north to the southwest and east, South Africa, yeah, tada. She gon' blow my cheeks. Fela in Versace.
Here is our lasagna.
So one thing I will say, you gotta buy from BerryCooks because you probably won't make it as good as she does because I had help. That being said, this is episode 8 of Fela in Malawi, first in kitchen cooking experience. See you next time.